Hey everybody, what's up? I hope you're having a fantastic holidays. Welcome to my channel, Simply Michelle, with yours truly, Michelle here. If you are new and stopping by for the first time, thank you so much. I do hope that you will decide to become a part of the tribe and subscribe to my channel. And if you are returning, thank you so much for the love and support. It is greatly appreciated. All right, y'all, let's get into it. So, Claudia Jordan recently did an interview with the Shade Room, and she was basically just giving some dating advice to the women out there and just touching on a few of the lessons that she's learned along the way up until where she is now. And it was very insightful. There are some things that I most definitely agree with that she spoke about. And I just wanted to know everyone's thoughts and opinions on some of the things that Claudia Jordan was talking about.
Do you wish someone had told you about dating like in your 40s and 50s back then?
You think that when you're ready to settle down, that there's always going to be a lot of supply on the shelves, and it's not. Like at this age, a lot of the good guys are married or taken because they're good guys. And I was having a conversation with a girlfriend of mine the other day, and I'm like, well, your best bet now is maybe someone that a good man that maybe is coming out of a marriage, getting a divorce. So, I think in our youth, and I would like people to know this when they're younger, we think, oh, there's always going to be an endless supply. I can wait till tomorrow. Don't put off your happiness waiting. If you find that good person, like a lot of times we wait, well, it's not the right time. It's never going to be like the right time. I would say go for it more. I wish I would have told someone told me just go for it. I probably have overlooked a good candidate before. Like maybe,
Why is that though?
me thinking the timing thing, maybe prioritizing career. I definitely was always like work, 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 work. I never thought I had like the enough cushion built up to like relax and take my foot off the gas and start a family.
And then did that just go on and on and on, and then you be 100 years old and you like it's still working.
Still working. And I think I will say specifically with Black women especially, I feel like we don't really have the luxury to think that we can kind of take time off like that. And I specifically say Black women because like we're usually the backbone of everything. Not even just with our families, but with our friend circles. Like it's always something for us to do. We're always taking care of somebody else. I don't have children, but I'm always like feeding a friend or taking care of someone or helping somebody out or doing a favor. And I think that's a cape that we put on ourselves. No one told us to do this. It's just something in us that we do. And if you think about the Black woman in your life, you probably think, she's like a superwoman for everybody else. When does she slow down for herself? I think with Black women specifically, it's harder for us to ever feel like we can just kind of take a break. We have to be like all gas, no brakes. I don't think we have the luxury of feeling like, okay, I can take a breather now and relax. And I think it's really sad. There's all these statistics about 45%, 65% of Black women will never get married, and we're out here taking care of everybody else and not getting taken care of. And I think it's really sad. I think we self-impose this cape on ourselves to save the world. Look at all the marches. Look at all, I know this is dating, but I got to bring it into like the political space. We're always at the front lines for everybody else. For everybody. Brother gets killed, we're in the front lines. The LGBTQ community, we're in the front lines. Are the women that are not even showing that up as our allies, we're in the front lines. Gaza, front line. We're always there for everybody else. And on top of all the stuff in our personal lives, we out here trying to save the world. When does that leave time to like really feel comfortable? When does that really leave time to like relax or even just like put yourself first or dating? And I just feel like a lot of women get caught up in saving the world and then they leave little time for themselves.
So, Claudia Jordan, some of the points that I got from the interview that I wanted to discuss. One of the things that she said was some of the things that she said. She was talking about how when you're in your younger years, like when you're in your 20s, you think that you have, you know, plenty of options when you get older. So it's like, when you're in your 20s, you're partying, you're having fun, you're really getting to know yourself as an individual and you're learning about life, which is really true. But when it comes to love, you kind of play around with it. You may entertain a relationship, you may not entertain a relationship, but you don't think about settling down at such an early age when you're in your younger years, like when you're in your 20s. Another point that she made was she says that are ma- all the good guys um, that are married around you, they're in their 40s. So basically, she was talking about how the guys that's in the older age groups like 40s and 50s, they are taken. She's basically saying all the good guys are married, they are taken, and she says that the only way you'll have a chance of catching a good guy around your 40s and whatnot in your 50s is if they just so happen to be, divorced or they're widowed, something like that. I did want to touch base on her saying that all the good guys are married around your 40s. I feel like that's just really a personal opinion of hers, more like a misconception. Um, because just because a guy is married, it doesn't mean that they're a good guy. And I think a lot of times that can cause confusion. It can cause a misconception. There are a lot of guys out there who are married who should not be married. They're not emotionally mature, like they're just not ready. Their priorities are not in order. The way that they look at things, their perspective and how they see things, and especially how they treat their wife, their counterpart, it's not someone who is ready for marriage. There are a lot of married couples out there, and there are a lot of men who are married who just should not be married. They don't deserve to have a loving wife. They don't deserve to be married. And I'm talking about the immature men here, the men who are very immature, the men who are still cheating and running around, the men who don't value and appreciate their wives. They don't value and appreciate what they have at home. They don't fully understand the concept of marriage and what it takes for two people to make things work. And they're just not at that maturity level to even, have a wife. So it's kind of like they're playing house. But the fact that you think that a man who is married is a good guy because they're married to someone, I feel like that's definitely a misconception. Let me know in the comments what you think about that one. Also, another thing that stuck out to me that she mentioned is when she said, no time is the right time for love and to go for it. I would definitely say that I would have to agree. I would definitely have to agree. But sometimes we don't always have the ability to do everything at once. But see, that's the benefit of having a good partner and someone that will help balance you out. Because she did mention how she prioritized work and she prioritized her career. And nothing is wrong with prioritizing your work and your career, but sometimes we don't always know how to balance love, career, taking care of ourselves. Sometimes we are not at that place where we know how to balance all of those things, and sometimes learning how to balance that, like, it comes with age, it comes with wisdom, it comes with living and going through life and having certain experiences, highs and lows that teaches us how to balance these things out. And sometimes there are other situations that we have to learn first. There's so many different layers of us all as individual, and then there's so many different compartments, to us as well as individuals. And it may be a certain part of your life that you have to master first before you can move on to the next part of your life. Like before you can master that part and have it all figured out, you know. And I get what she's saying. No time is the right time and just go for it. But if you just go for it and you're not really ready, you can mess up a good thing. You can mess up a good thing. And sometimes you can mess up a good thing by feeling like you're not ready, but like I mentioned before, that's the point. That's the purpose of having like a good partner who helps balances you out and who you're in alignment with, because you're going to balance out each other's strengths and weaknesses. And where one is weak, the other can be strong, and vice versa. So, as you're growing with each other, as you are learning with each other, and as you balance each other out, you are able to overcome those personal, hurdles and struggles and obstacles, but relationships like that, sometimes they have a tendency to be rare. Those are those rare relationships, when you can just find someone like that. She also mentioned that, like I said, she mentioned where she prioritized her career, but she also said that she didn't feel like she was in a space financially, secure wise, where she could just breathe and invest in those, relationships. Another thing that she mentioned that really stood out to me was Black women not having the luxury of leisurely just taking time off to focus on love, because we are so busy taking care of everyone else. And being able to take a breather and focus on, love and relationships has a tendency to kind of be a challenge. If you are taking care of children, you're running a household, you're working, you're taking care of the bills, it's like, where is that time for you? I totally get it. 100%. I am a single mother. I was in a long-term relationship that was toxic, and I healed. I got out. I got over it. I got past it. But, as someone who wants to get back out there and, eventually, start back dating again, I've kind of, I've wondered the same thing, like, will I actually have time to do this in the midst of everything that I have going on, taking care of the kids. I have my YouTube channel. I also work, I'm running my household, I'm paying the bills, I'm taking care of everything. And it's like you do everything for everyone else. And it's like you forget to look out for you. You forget to take care of yourself. You forget to pour into yourself. So I get that part 100%. And yes, it's the circumstances of Black women that we have not, now, in this day and age, um, we are afforded, more leisure time and more, opportunities to be able to do more than we have been able to do before. But I get it 100%. What she's talking about, in that aspect, giving so much of yourself and not really pouring into your own self while you're giving of others. So All right, y'all. So let's go into the comments here. And I just, highlighted a few that, I wanted to share. Someone says, ladies, just stay single and live your best life. Regardless, now or in 30 years, men will be men. Travel the world and live your best life. I agree. I agree. A married man isn't necessarily a good man, which is the nonsense I'm seeing in these comments. A man will literally marry you because you're easy to deal with or an enabler. I speak from experience of having straight male friends. That is so true. That goes back to what I said when I said that is a misconception. About just because a man is married does not mean that he's a good man. Someone else says, truth is, there was never an endless supply. The amount of good men have always been limited. I agree 100%. I agree. I agree 100%. Someone else says, what's funny is that I don't know if that lack of supply part really changes. Black women, by and large, don't have the luxury of quote unquote prioritizing marriage. I went to a PWI, and many of the white girls I know who got married younger came from families that provided them a soft landing. They weren't paying for their own college. They didn't have to have summer jobs. They could relax because they came from financially stable. I think she meant to say financially stable families. Most of the black students I knew were the first to go to college in their family, or at best, second generation. Everybody had to work and go to school. Everybody was trying to make it happen because so few of us came from families that could provide that kind of support. I see a lot of men in these comments wagging their finger at women without accounting for how much financial dynamics impact our pursuit of marriage. Oh, and by the way, the white girls I knew who got married in their 20s, more than half of them are divorced. It's a crapshoot. All right, and let's see what else we got here. Someone else says, unfortunately, a lot of black women watching this still won't learn from her mistake. When it comes to being married and settling down, the white women have been raised to prioritize marriage. While a lot of black ladies would prioritize everything except settling down and having a family, y'all need to change your mindset. Imagine achieving all that success and having no one to enjoy it with. And then someone responds to the comment and says, Claudia's mom is white. Why didn't she teach her daughter that? And then someone else says, our timeline is different because our struggle is different. Please stop comparing us to YT people and go learn about the work of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. I can't even stand to see brothers moving like YT men as if the consequences are the same. Um, I would have to say that I agree. I agree. Our timeline is most definitely completely different. Our struggle is different. The things we've had to endure and go through versus the things that they have had to endure and go through is completely different. We were taught how to survive. Okay? We were set up for survival. The things that we were taught and the things that they were taught is just different. And like Claudia was saying, she felt like she didn't have the security um or the luxury of leisurely just taking time off from work to be able to invest in a relationship. Um and white women, they have been raised to focus on marriage, finding a good husband, finding a man that's going to provide. Again, not to make it about a race thing, and this is not to like play victim or anything like that. Our circumstances, our struggle, the things that we have had to deal with are just completely different. And you cannot compare the two. You can't. But there are Black men out there who would definitely try to make a comparison, and it's literally apples to oranges. There is no comparison. All right. And someone else says, girl, in our youth, these men don't want to commit to anything. Good luck finding a young dude in a metropolitan city who wants to settle down and be with one woman. And then someone else says, from what I learned, you have to work on you. Become the wife your husband deserves, and he will come to you, plain and simple. Sit with God and a therapist and get your inner right. You attract what you put out. It worked for me. The problem be most women and men think they are already a catch and live in delusion. I agree with this comment 100%. If I could pin a comment, this would be pinned all the way to the top. This is so true. It's like work on your healing, do the inner work on yourself. You are valuable, you are worthy, and the right man will come along and match your energy. The man who you are meant to be with, who you are in alignment with, that man will come. Just continue to work on yourself. And like she said, if you need to get a therapist, do the healing work. If you need to get a therapist, if you need to get a life coach to do that healing work, do the necessary healing work that you need to do. Something else that she says that I really want to put the focus on. Most women and men think they are already a catch and they live in a delusion. Oh my goodness. If I could like this 1,000 times over, I would like that comment 1,000 times over. So many people do not see their own flaws. They choose to ignore the things that they need to work on. They choose to ignore the things that they need to heal, the things that they need to improve upon to be just a better person in general. Like everybody is in a state of delusion. They think they're a great catch. They think nothing is wrong with them. And they may have some pick me, or they may have, someone, who is, stroking their ego and making them think nothing is wrong with them. That also plays a part with it too, aside from their own ego being just overly inflated. But, a lot of people truly are stuck in their own delusion, and that does keep them from doing the necessary work to become a better person, not just as an individual, but for a potential partner. This comment, I'm telling you, if I could like it 1,000 times over, I would. It's just top tier. And one last comment is, she is telling the truth, especially the part about not having the luxury to be able to slow down and take a break. And it's sad. If we stop, S won't get done. Nobody's showing up to save us. As a Black woman, it is sad, but I definitely have to agree. No one's coming to save us. If we stop working, if we slow down our responsibilities, our priorities, if we stop working, that's it for us. Our whole kingdom, our whole platform, our foundation crumbles. We have to keep going. And it's not like a mindset thing. For some people it can be a mindset thing, but I mean, for us it's not. Black women take a lot of heat. We deal with a lot of disrespect. We deal with a lot of stereotypes. It's just we are targeted consistently. And there's always been this stigma about Black women, being, aggressive and men not liking Black women because they have a mind of their own, and they are opinionated, and they're not submissive, and it's just all types of stuff. And when you, as a Black woman, when you have to deal with things like that on a daily basis, being degraded for being a Black woman, being looked down upon, when every day is a fight just to be great. Like every day is a fight just to be great. It can be very daunting. It can be very draining. It can be very discouraging. And it's almost like it's always a reminder of what you're up against, or why you're not the better option for other people's opinions and other people's standards, and all of this foolishness. It's a lot. Sometimes it can be a lot to take on. But I definitely agree with the other comment about doing the healing work, seeking God. Those are some of the very things that I did myself: seeking God, doing the healing work, seeking therapy. Definitely helped. And I do highly recommend, those things as well, as an individual, as someone who has done the healing work myself. But you guys, this is all I have for today. I wanted to share this, and I wanted to get you all's opinions on this. What do you think about this? I appreciate Claudia for being, so candid and being just open about the lessons that she has learned along the way, leading up until now, in regards to, love and relationships, and, some of the things that, she wished she would have, done a little differently, things like that, her viewpoints. But drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about this. How do you feel about this? What are your thoughts on this? And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please be sure to do just that. I would love to have you become a part of the tribe. All right. And all right, everybody, that is all that I have for today. Until we meet again, everyone, take care, stay blessed, be safe. And this is Michelle signing off. Happy holidays.